Hey there. Happy Tuesday. We are live.
Hello.
Hey.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Ariana's in the white puffer
It
coat.
is cold.
It's cold in here.
Oof.
It ain't supposed to be.
Yeah.
So we're back at winter.
Very. I thought we
Welcome.
were moving towards summer, and I guess it went backwards.
I think we had full spring last week, and now we're back to winter.
Yeah, we had the wet season, raining consistently. It
Oh, yeah.
was April showers, and then now it's a cold breeze again.
So I wanted to freeform this today. Instead of having a specific topic, I think it'd be really good to kind of go back to our original goal of this live and just talk a little bit about who we are, what we do, why we do it, and then see kind of where that leads us. What do you guys think?
Sure,
Sure.
sure.
So, who wants to start?
I can start.
Hey.
Uh, Um, yeah, so my name is Christian Cole, commercial real estate agent from Queens, New York. I love commercial real estate because I love the city and then I love businesses. I like money. And so all these things go hand in hand. I think that the importance of center of commerce and places where transactions are done is the cornerstone of a society. And I think that being a part of that transaction is a privilege, and it's something that I would like to see more people who look like me doing. And that's why I'm happy to do it. Made it a specialty of mine, and I'm becoming an expert in that field.
Okay.
Absolutely. My name is Ileana. I'm a commercial real estate agent. I specialize in the leasing and sale of commercial assets. I like doing commercial real estate because I like helping small business owners, particularly minorities, because I feel like they need most help when it comes to searching for spaces. I specialize in commercial real estate specifically because people like me I don't really see people like me in commercial real estate. And if I can specialize in something and add value to small business owners that look like me, like, why not? So that's me in a nutshell.
Awesome. Um, I'm Cynthia Peacock. I'm playing with filters. Um, I'm a commercial real estate specialist um, here in New York City as well as in Atlanta now. Um, I was I started recording my podcast, my new version of my podcast in the last week. And one thing that kind of has stood out to me is the reason why, and it's almost like like a defiance that I have. A big part of the reason why I feel like I'm a commercial real estate specialist is for representation. Um, there's not a lot of people in the business on a day-to-day basis that can just naturally get you as a client, especially when you're looking and you're trying to transact on the tenant or buyer end. And I think it's really important that there's a population of people that can service you, right? A service, a community of people that look like you, have similar histories than you, have similar ways of having a conversation, have similar belief systems. And because our world is so interesting, we're going to use that word right now, um, on just the way we interact with each other, the way we support each other. I think it's really important to have diversity in the business and have diversity in the way we're able to communicate to our customers and the way we're able to meet more of our clients and more of the businesses that we talk to on a day-to-day basis. And I think because we do that, or if we do that well, we'll be able to convert more. We'll be able to, do more deals, sell more buildings, lease more spaces. And that's kind of why I'm in it. That's why I wake up every day and decide we're gonna do this, right? We're fairly busy here, but what questions do you guys have right now? What are you guys thinking about? How are you guys, what conversations have you guys had this week that have been interesting or that you feel would be really useful for people to hear more about in this business?
Well, actually, you brought up a point that you said about, you're in this business because you want to represent people, not only people that look like us, but just have great customer service and really get people. And that brought up the question, like, do you guys feel like customer service is dying in a sense? Because I find that the way I'm interacting with the younger generation is just not the same. It's not the same. I mean,
You're
growing
like,
up,
y'all
I
don't
was,
pick up the phone.
oh my goodness, not
Y'all
even
don't,
that. Just
y'all don't even, y'all text message everything. Y'all want to Snapchat it?
yeah, and just even like what I call the basics of like courtesy. I don't know. It just seems like it's dying, or maybe they just haven't been. Everything is just. I guess my question is: do you feel like customer service is dying? Do you feel like the way we're interacting with people has just kind of been bland? What's your take on that?
Christian, you want to go first or you want me to go?
Yeah, no, I'll go. I think that customer service does change over time. I think that the climate and I guess modernization as well as the way we communicate changes a lot of things. And I will say that there are things that I'm used to growing up that are not the norm anymore. Like I'll tell you, I do not leave a voicemail. I can't, like if you don't answer the phone, I'm gonna just call you back. I'm not gonna actually leave a voicemail. That's because I don't
Oh,
typically have a practice of checking a voicemail for me because, like you said, for me in my adolescence and teenage years, like texting became popular, and so it's like that idea of more instant communication became popular. So anything that doesn't happen in the current phase, people tend to relegate to like secondary priority. So for me, I want to have an interaction where you hear what I need to say on the phone so that I can instantly like respond to you. And then versus like a voicemail. So I'll just say I'll call you back. Or I won't leave the actual thing like what we're gonna talk about is when we call back, that's when we talk about it. That's just me personally. So what I'll say to
it's like
you
it's
will
a
be the same
secret.
thing.
Call me back, you'll find out.
It's not a little bit. But at the same time, like I know that I'll call an office or I'll call someone. Like if I answer the phone, I'll always say hello, my name is, or hi, are you speaking to? But like notice that nowadays there are people who will answer the phone, hello, yes, hi, and I'm
Yes.
just like,
I'm like, what?
well, yeah, like to me, I did grow up in a time where you'd answer the phone and like speak a certain way, at least when you're on the phone, and I'm not used to that when that happens. So like I noticed those shifts. It's customer service changing, good or bad, is sometimes in the eye of the beholder. Sometimes we're talking about professionalism rather than service.
Hmm.
And some people are just not professional. They'll serve you as a customer, not in a professional manner. And so like those are the
You
things
know
I
you are
think.
Jamaican, right?
Yeah, I know that too. So there's a lot of, yeah. I mean, I also have an expectation. If you come to a spot, we don't need to be hello or hi. Is the food good? Is sometimes sometimes the
We don't
priority.
have.
Yeah, exactly. So it depends on the situation, but it's changing.
Hmm.
That's my opinion.
Um, Customer service isn't dead. I think for businesses that are thriving and businesses that will continue to thrive, I fear spa. Um, we you have to customer service has shifted, right?
Yeah.
So before, yes, you got a call. At that point, at one point, I was obviously getting the phone and I was doing the rings trying to, did you guys ever dial where you had to like
Oh,
go back and forth
a,
on the
a
rotary
No,
circle?
dial?
No.
no, 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 no.
You never
That's
had the long cord where you had
that.
to go to, like, you had the 10-foot cord where you had to go to another room so you could have a private conversation. You didn't have to have that?
Nah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay. Just made me feel a little old. All right, little folk. Well, it's shifted, right? So now customer service is really around how you make people feel, right? How you make them feel important, how do you acknowledge their needs? And a big part of obviously our learning and what we talk about as a team is that we talk about communication styles, right? And so, you know, we all know what our respective communication styles are, our respective personality types are on this call. And so we know that the way we have to communicate to a customer to make them feel like, what is it? The golden rule is don't treat people like you think they want to be treated. No, don't treat people the way you think, well, they need to be treated, not
Yeah.
the way you think they
Right.
need to be treated, the way they want to be treated.
Right.
As a, so a lot of people have shifted that, right? So I feel like the brands that are really succeeding in this market are doing that. So there are people that, yeah, no, a text message is more effective. I agree. I rarely check my voicemail, only because the people who leave voicemails are spam. Like, it's not real voicemail.
Yeah.
And but I'm constantly on my email, and I think a response to an email for a client or a business should come pretty quickly because it takes 5 minutes. Like, and so like the thing that drives me nuts is if I text you and you read it and you don't respond, even acknowledge.
React something.
Yeah,
Yeah, give me a
something.
check mark, a thumbs up, something. And it's control freak thing, right? But I think it's that because we're all on our phones, because we're all able to communicate so fluidly and so quickly, there should be an acknowledgement and a consideration. Obviously, we're in this brokerage business, right? And what do we deal with a lot? How many of you guys have called brokers about listings or called them to follow up with their
Mm.
clients who may be coming or dealing with our listing? And the communication breakdown has been astronomical, right?
Hmm.
So
Yes.
we obviously, there's demographics, there's male to female, but then there's also cultural, right? We
Yeah.
have a deal right now we're doing with a woman agent who is of Asian
Asian descent. Yeah.
background, and it's like, ah, ma'am, like, help me out, help me help you. And so, I realized that calling her was not effective. Emailing her was the most effective for her for that, because there was a breakdown when we got on the phone. They started to have, it was more contentious as opposed to, moving the deals along. So yeah, that's a thought. What else? What are you guys thinking about today? What are you guys working on? What's interesting in our day this week? Or
Hmm. So I think another thing that's really interesting, always a topic of conversation, just the climate in general in
Mm.
New York City. And again, I know we don't necessarily have to dive into politics all the time, but I think that as brokers, as people who are
did you see
advising,
the woman? Sorry to interrupt.
Which one?
Did you see the woman that said there are no homeless people have slept
yes,
on the street in New
Yeah.
yes,
York?
yes.
Yeah. Like
So
you live in a bubble.
Well,
exactly,
no,
What?
that's what
where
I'm
does she
saying.
live? I'm
Yeah.
curious.
Like what?
What
Not
street?
here,
Oh
not
my
here.
goodness.
And
Not in East Harlem.
she must commute with a blindfold wherever office
Mm-mm.
she's going to. She's blindfolded and walks in. But that's what I'm saying. So it's like we need to know what's going on. It's talking about being in touch with the population, the climate, the pulse of the city. And so obviously I would say two major things are happening. One, this like current economic shift and what's happening in the stock market because it reverberates into the real estate market.
Hmm.
Yeah.
These things go hand in hand. Anything that's capital intensive goes hand in hand. And mostly the players and people who are involved in making money, um, they are they are investing in all of these markets and they move cyclically. And then also the mayoral race. Those are the two things that I think are really interesting and important right now that are kind of like in the back of people's minds, but kind of trickles out. So I just wanted to see if we had any thoughts on, um, of course, these tariffs and what's happening, but also how that makes people feel. Not even just the technicality, but the emotional sentiment, and then how that sentiment moves throughout the city and what people make assumptions on. Because people will tell me, commercial real estate is dead because X, Y, Z. And I'm just like, well, do you know? Like, are you doing research? Or are you just telling me this assumption you have because you may have heard something on the news and listened to the radio, and now you're saying, investment is scary no matter what it is. So
Right.
what are we facing in our daily lives, or what are we hearing from people?
Yeah, I actually was having a conversation with a friend who lives in Jersey, but she travels back and forth from Jersey to New York City, and she said that exactly, that commercial real estate is dead. But oftentimes people are not doing research because when you ask them like what asset type you're talking about, they can't even answer. Usually it's, is it office, is it retail, is it industrial, and it's doing the research, but also I've also noticed just conversations that I've been having, people are scared. People are scared right now.
Yes.
People are functioning on uncertainty. People don't know. Oftentimes, people don't know when their next meal will be. Which sucks. This America the Great, like what's going on, and that's these are the conversations that I'm having lately. Like people are scared. People are uncertain. People don't know what's to come, and that can bring really scary reactions. Really scary reactions.
Um, I would say there's two sides of this. So 2024 was or slower than 2023. 2020, oddly enough, 2020 and 2021 were probably some of our busiest years. And then what happened was obviously there was an election year. So there was a lot of pause. Let's wait to see what
Mm-hmm.
happens, uncertainty. So deals didn't really go into a lot of deals, like my normal volume of deals didn't go into contract until towards the end of 2024. With the ambitions that, oh, we have just, it's not because of a specific presidency, we just have a new administration,
Mm-hmm.
a new pathway or new
Mhm.
people. So that changes different types of investments. So I know investment sales, like my investment sales deals have towards the end of last year, I got tons of inquiries. I got bidding wars on assets that were sitting there, land that was sitting there. And then what has happened is now we're in an economic kind of limbo area while there are these tariff negotiations and or policies that will be put in place. The small businesses are kind of paused, right? So I find that we're seeing like, and obviously we're checking data every week for all of our listings about, what amount of inquiries we're getting, what amount of people are calling us. So we are seeing more micro businesses really calling. So like these smaller mom and pop shops, like
Mm-hmm.
the nail salons, the bodegas, the juice bars, the
Barbershops.
barber shops,
Mm-hmm.
the people who aren't as dependent on the economy on a larger
Right.
scale to
Right.
succeed because they're an everyday service.
Mhm.
But what I find like has been missing is my restaurants, right? We had a huge restaurant boom over the last 4 years after COVID because there was a lot of need to be social. There was a lot of need to be out and do experiential stuff. And now we're seeing a slowdown where even with our project in Atlanta, like I have toured with less restaurants than I expected.
Mhm.
We have one that is, has toured and is interested, but it's a person who's an influencer, it's like guiding that. So that person has their
Right.
brand and
Right.
their reputation behind their food business, as opposed to it just being an individual startup.
Mhm.
So what I'm saying is like that middle gap is starting to be missing because the cost of operations have accelerated,
Mm-hmm.
right? The cost of buying produce, obviously eggs,
Mm-hmm.
bacon and all these other things are
Yeah. Goods and
escalating,
services. Mm-hmm.
goods and services. So now that's being translated. Like I was shopping in the grocery store, which I rarely do, yesterday, and olive oil was at like $39. I was like,
Yeah.
what? Olive oil? Like, why is my olive oil so like? And that wasn't a big like. That's not like the Costco size,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
That was like the little bottle
Yeah.
at my local grocery store. And so we're gonna start to see that, right? We're gonna start to see more of that. So what is happening is people who want to start restaurants, people who want to start these small businesses are going to need some sort of a creative way to still move forward. We obviously have a bakery client that I was supposed to tour with yesterday, but a part of that is that, the cost of wheat, the cost of flour is going to be a concern. So I think owners are going to have to make adjustments. Owners are going to have to take that into account when they are pricing and or reviewing offers, reviewing opportunities. But you know, we're strategic stalkers, so we're gonna still push. We're still gonna get in people's DMs. We're gonna still message, and we're gonna still get opportunity to us, but we will see a shift. Obviously, the other thing that has shifted is we talked about the small little micro businesses. We talked about the in-between crowd where the 1,000 square foot to like the 2,000 square foot people are. The big businesses, the larger footprint spaces, they're still dead. They've been dead for a while now.
Yeah.
So like who's releasing these Dwayne Reeds? Who's
Yeah.
releasing these New York
Mov-
sports clubs that
Movie
close, these
theaters.
Planet
Yeah.
Fitness, the
Yeah.
movie theaters. Like, you know how many movie theaters are in my neighborhood that have been
Yeah.
closed?
Who can fill that space? Who can
So
fill that big
there's
space?
not
Exactly.
a lot, there's experiential businesses that can take over those leases for those larger footprint spaces, but you also have to make it a destination, and they're not necessarily cash generators. I was listening to a live similar to this by an associate of mine, Corey Zelnick, and he was talking about like in a mall scenario where you're talking about these larger complexes, Forever 21 has obviously gone out of business. Now, I did use that as an opportunity to go onto Forever 21's site and get me some stuff I had no business wearing.
Right.
Same.
But yeah, right? A sale. But Forever 21 has a very large footprint. They have probably on average their stores are between 5 to 7,000 square
Yeah.
feet
Mhm.
in multi levels. Who's going to
I
take
used
that over? And it
to work
ends up,
there. Fun fact.
uh,
Really?
what?
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
Men's department.
Yeah, no, I used to do the stock in the back, absolutely.
Mm.
Oh,
The
wow.
summer job, yeah, it was calm.
So you see how much inventory kind of has come in, right? Or comes in to that kind
Definitely.
of a brand. And so there's just so much infrastructure because again, they keep a lot of back of house. A lot of businesses, because of the Amazon model, don't keep a lot of
Yeah.
inventory anymore. It's not affordable.
Yeah,
And you're paying for storage on site, but that means you're paying for goods that you may or may not sell.
exactly.
So there has to be a transition. So, what you're seeing is if you go into, and Christian, you love to go to malls, and so do you,
I
Ileana.
do.
What you're seeing in the malls are these experiential users coming in, right? You're
Mhm.
seeing these family, you know, bouncy house places. You're
Yeah, they're
seeing
doing
these,
they like the smash rooms where you
hmm
break stuff. Those are in
yeah,
malls.
Yeah,
You also
virtual
yeah,
see like
rooms.
yeah,
Yeah.
VR rooms
Yeah.
and things like that.
yeah, the
But
arcade.
those aren't huge money grabs, though. They're
Yeah.
not like the amount, like obviously there's data that we have around like how many customers walk in and out of a store if you're on the retail side, right? You
Mhm.
can
Hmm.
get literal specific data, how many people walk through your front door. But that doesn't mean those people are converting. Yeah, with the smash rooms, you're probably only getting 10 people per room or two
Hmm.
people per room. So you're not, and what's the real amount you could charge?
Yeah.
$30, $40?
Yeah.
Yep.
So you can't charge that huge, there's a huge gap in income. So their rents can't be above $20
Mhm.
a foot, $10 a foot because they're just an attraction. And then the businesses surrounding them, like the food court, the businesses surrounding them, like the other operators that might, have children's clothing or shoes and things like that, they might be able to maximize it. But those businesses themselves don't attract it. So now you have lower price per square foot on your net lease of the whole mall or your
Hmm.
net lease of your whole space, but that doesn't mean you don't have the volumes of people coming in. How do you make that up? Where do you make it up? Kind of thing. So
All right.
people have to be more creative about it, because we're going to see this shift probably for the next 8 to 12 months
Sure.
in Sharon's. Like, I don't foresee it changing
Mm-hmm.
dramatically for some time now.
All right. And I think you made a good point. Like, when you what really matters, and why it's important to pay attention to these kind of things is that the difference maker will be like the confidence.
Hmm.
It's the confidence that you have, and then as well as the creativity. Your creativity can give you more confidence. But if you don't understand the season that we're in and what's happening, then you're going to be a lot more hesitant to take
Yeah,
advantage of an opportunity to fill a space, and then you're like, I'm not confident that I can get the return on investment. I'm not confident that I can make the money back that I'll be able to generate. But then if there's other people who are making
That,
money, there are
that
people
bank
who
ain't
are
confident. That bank want to know you gonna make that money to pay
exactly.
the mortgage.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. But there are people who understand these cycles who are making money. I mean, and the
Hmm.
biggest thing is, the biggest example is like the stock market, for example.
Hmm.
There are people who print money when the stock market goes down because
Oh
they
yeah, if you're
understand,
shorting, you're doing
yeah,
good right now.
Hmm.
they understand that it's gonna go down and swing back up. And so like, but you only know that if you're paying attention, if you're educating yourself, and if you're not shying away from the conversation and not being oblivious and just saying times are hard, times are hard.
Exactly.
Like times are hard, but where are the
It's,
opportunities? And so there are businesses out there who are saying where are the opportunities or what can I do? And you just change your model a little bit, tweak it. If you normally just do coffee, you do coffee, but you also offer maybe like a meeting room that people can rent or book, or you provide an extra service. You do a little something that just can carry you past that hurdle, and then in 8 to 12 months, you're in a really good spot at a really low rent, and you're making bank when shit's regular. Like, you know what I mean?
right.
Like that's the potential there. So
Right.
that's
That's
what
true.
we have to be able to explain to people who are going to blindly say this is a terrible time to open a business, or this is a horrible time to take a commercial space. It could be more challenging, but that doesn't mean it's terrible. That doesn't mean it's a bad decision. It just means that you really have to put your cap on and say, can I take advantage of the opportunity and maximize it?
Yeah.
That's true.
And always have a plan. I always say have a plan. Write down your plan. Don't just go straight from, oh, this won't work. Like really list out your numbers. And I had once someone tell me the weakest markets are always the ones with the best opportunities. Never
Hmm.
panic. Just never
I
panic. And you have to
mean,
find,
think about all those COVID
yeah.
deals.
Hmm.
Imagine you got your lease, during a COVID, during COVID. I mean, I did a good amount. I was out there with my gloves and my
Hmm.
mask and my 20 feet distance doing deals, and the deals we were able to get done, obviously, in that bubble of time, those owners either like blew up and expanded, like, or they contracted and closed if they were too afraid, or like a lot of it was they were if they were struggling, they just went out of business. But if they were thriving, those businesses are doing super well right now.
Absolutely.
So we've kind of come to our 30-minute mark. Anything you guys any last questions, any last thoughts you guys wanna leave us with for this week with
Eh,
outside with VRG, New
I mean,
York?
in theme with the conversation, just I'll share a quote that I saw on a bottle of a drink that I was drinking, but it was nice though. It said
You were so we thought you were going to be so
right.
profound.
No,
Yeah.
it's like Snapple facts. But no, it said um I am not scared of the storm, for I'm learning to steer my ship. And I thought that was
Yes.
really cool. And I just thought, like,
That was
you
your
know,
Snapple.
yeah.
Mm.
Well, it wasn't Snapple. It was iced tea, but it was the facts, though. It was the facts, and I think it's important people understand that although times could be difficult, or if something is happening that is not working as smoothly or easy as someone might think, um, that is an opportunity to overcome, so that you'll be prepared. Like I talked about, like your confidence level. When you get through a hard time, when times are easy, it'll feel like a breeze. And I relate that to everything I do when I'm running and stuff like that. I'm training, and when times are difficult, it makes the easier times. Like when I run in the rain, it makes a beautiful sunny day feel like vacation. So that's just a good thing to remember. So I just want to encourage everybody with that.
Yeah. I mean,
We
storms
appreciate
built
it.
soldiers, storms built warriors. So
For sure.
don't fear the storm. Just embrace it.
Listen, come harder. That's my goal. Come harder. Like I've been through it. I got it. We got it.
Hmm.
So this is Outside with BRG. Next week, we want to alternate our weeks where one week it's just us talking, having these conversations, sharing a little bit about us. But then the week after, we'd like to invite a small business up to have a conversation with us. So, Christian and Ileana, you're in charge of bringing a small business next
Yeah.
week. One of you,
Okay.
not two. But I appreciate everyone getting involved. I appreciate everyone sharing and connecting and talking to us. And look at that, people starting to come in, and we are about to wrap up.
They
Y'all got to
gotta
get here at 11:30 next
they gotta
time.
watch it back, watch the
Yeah,
recap.
look at that. It'll be on our pages. Thank you guys so much. We will see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.